How nice was it? We talked about Prince and some of those guys, receivers, Prince and Bolton in particular, getting them involved.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, everybody wants to touch the ball. It's good when it can happen. Can't always happen that way.
You go into games thinking that, okay, Bolt needs to get more involved, Prince needs to get more involved, and you come up kind of as a scheme, or does that just kind of happen organically in the game?
Sometimes we do. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we do. Sometimes it's luck.
Was this a case of trying to get Bolt and Strawn both more involved, or?
Somewhat. Not. I mean, first we're trying to win the damn game is what we're trying to do.
From everything we've heard, a Herculean effort by Latrell to get on the field last week. Just how impressed were you with the work he put in to make that happen?
Well, we don't see all the work. When those guys are coming back from injury, they're doing most of that work, with the training staff. And so at the first of the week, though, they were counting him out, and we didn't have him involved in the game plan. And that just shows, how much he wants to be in there, because they didn't think he had a chance to make it, and he did, and he played well.
Is the ability to not get sacked a developed skill that a quarterback learns and works on and just?
They need to, yes, they need to learn it, because no, not everybody does not just come by that naturally, for sure. And I think that's one of the things Maddox is doing a great job of. I mean, I don't know if Spencer gave you, but our first group has 0 sacks on the year as far as giving up. Mad Dog got sacked one time in one of those early games, and that was just good coverage. I mean, they just covered us. We didn't have a good enough scheme on, and Mad Dog ran it for a -1, and we got a sack. The other 3 sacks are all with either backup O-line or backup quarterback in there. So I think that's one of the things we've done the best job of, is not turning it over and not having sacks. Because when you're behind the chains, it's just tough. It's tough. When we're ahead of the chains, we're pretty good.
They're juggling centers. You just don't hear that very often. It's like one position, and you got Holmes and Steele. In the last 2 or 3 games, you're juggling. It seems like Steele's maybe closed that gap. How difficult is that, and how are they executing it?
It has not been difficult because of the good job those 2 guys have done. They've handled it fantastic. I'll go back and say again, the guys that they're replacing, the guy that they're replacing in Mason is a all-conference type player. They've stepped into big shoes. They've complemented each other well. They've worked together on it. They have some different strengths and weaknesses, and it's been a much bigger deal outside the building than it has been inside the building.
From the week 1 of fall camp to right now, what's like your most noticeable thing about the growth of Maddox Madsen settling into his first full season as a starter? And I mean, like I said, if you look at the numbers right now, he is now the number 1, has the number 1 QB efficiency rating in the Mountain West Conference. So from that week 1 to right now, what's the biggest growth or most noticeable growth been?
That's a hard one. I think when you're the quarterback at Boise State, expectations are high from outside as well as from inside, and living up to those expectations is not always easy. I think it's taken some time to get everybody on the same page as far as receiver wise. We're working with a lot of different guys. We've had 8 guys playing roles in there. There was a couple really good examples in the game of the first touchdown. I mean, we turned the defensive end loose, the one he threw to Camper. And so there was I made a cut up of 4 plays where Mad Dog got to the backside of a read, and the receiver was exactly where he was supposed to be, exactly when he was supposed to be there. That's not easy. I mean, we've struggled with that in our passing game. Has not been where it needed to be, and it was a lot closer last week. So part of it's just getting everybody on the same page.
You kind of mentioned last week that maybe, I think of like a pitcher, if you start trying to aim the ball, you're going to be in trouble, right? And so I think you kind of mentioned something kind of like that with him against, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
That's a mental thing. So how do you get that out or flush that so you don't do that? It's kind of easier said than done.
Your coach yells at you a lot and says some swear words to you. Most of these players, are harder on themselves than any coach is going to be. And, Mad Dog's a perfectionist, like a lot of our guys. He's not the only one. And, he's the son of a coach, so I'm sure he was hearing it from his dad. He was definitely hearing it from me. And just the pressure he put on himself to get back. I mean, Maddox played in this game like I see him quite often. It hasn't showed up, as clear as maybe everybody would like it until this last week. But that's the Mad Dog that I see almost every day.
Austin Bolt said nobody prepares like Madsen. How smart is this kid? I mean, you've been around like Ryan Fitzpatrick level smart. I mean,
Yeah, that's pretty smart. Mad Dog can comprehend, and he remembers stuff. He's right up there. I mean, he's pretty good at it. I mean, I think when you're lacking in some areas of the, he's not the most mobile guy, he's not the tallest guy, you have to make up for it in other ways, and he's been able to do that throughout his career in multiple sports. So, he's pretty sharp.
What was that when that was like when he had to come out for the one play to be evaluated or whatever, and you just had to throw Malachi in there like 3rd and 7 or whatever it was?
It was actually it's lucky, when you're winning like we ended up winning and you're looking back on it, but that's a good thing to happen for us. I mean, I tell Malachi every week, you're one play away from going in, and it just happened to be a 3rd down. And, when any backup goes in there, we were just talking about the backup centers, all of a sudden you're in and you're not the backup anymore. Now you're playing. So, you got to be ready to go. So it's a good lesson for everyone, and a good learning experience for Malachi. And Malachi continues to improve. He showed some really good plays last Saturday, and then a couple we'd like to have back.
I'm sure was just telling us about some of the conversations you guys have when you have to make the decisions of when to, rest starters, when to get guys more reps. For you, what kind of factors do you consider about when to? I mean, obviously, not mentioning that quarterback because that was an injury, but other situations.
Yeah, well, once we, when we're fortunate enough, and we've been a couple times to get the game in hand, my first thought goes to what players do we have to keep healthy for the long run, and certain players are invaluable at their position. Just based on our depth or based on how talented they are. I mean, we've got a couple guys that we can't afford to lose. So, once the game is in hand, and whatever that number is, but I'll keep that secret. But
Is there a specific magic number that you? I mean,
sort of, yeah, sort of.
You're the only team in college football averaging 50 points a game, and I know that's just kind of a milestone number that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of what you're trying to do. But what is the ceiling for this offense?
Yeah, Ashton Genty's a generational player. So, we're not planning those one-play drives. I mean, we've had like 5 or 6 one-play, 60-plus drives. I mean, we're expecting those plays to gain 4 yards, and we'd be happy with that. You're ahead of the chains. So, it was, he scores on that first play. It's almost anticlimactic. I'm finally, we were on defense first. We go through the kicking plays. Finally, it's time for me to do my job, and he takes a counter play and runs it 70 yards for a touchdown. Have some more popcorn and wait for the next series.
what has coaching Ashton Genty taught you?
Well, I've been blessed to be around a lot of fantastic players, and he's just ahead of his time. I mean, this guy's he's playing at a superior, elite level, and he's a junior in college, or and I think is he a true junior? Is he a 3rd-year junior? I mean, so he's just way ahead of the curve.
With Ash, I mean, I know there are times where he certainly gets space and things get blocked up like at Georgia Southern, but how often does the opponent do? I mean, they fit a run right, and he still finds a way to go 7.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. I mean, the Washington State game, there was a lot of them in that Washington State game. We blocked a lot better in this last game, and we're going to have to block better in this game because Hawaii is excellent at stopping the run. That's one of their best things. So, but he does it way more than most. I mean, that's what makes him special. And there's all the videos and stuff out there of 5, 6, 7 guys having a shot at him. I mean, yeah, he's doing a lot on his own.
Nice was it to get Breezy going.
Really good to see Breezy. He got his first couple explosives of the year, got his first touchdown of the year. Breezy's a different style of back. He's a little bit more of a straight line runner, but he's also got exceptional speed. So when he hits it, he can go. I mean, with him and Dylan, both those guys have breakaway speed, and obviously Dylan showed it on the kickoff.
Anything else? Your thoughts on Hawaii?
Yeah, they're good. They're physical. They're well coached. They run hard to the ball. They have good depth. They have playmakers at every level, at every position. I mean, good set of corners. One really good safety. Those linebackers are tough. They're front. They rotate a bunch of guys in there. They can rush the passer. They've been impressive so far.
You talked a lot about like some of those, some of the stats that are significant that add up to, big point goals and stuff like that a couple of weeks ago. But when it comes to executing in the red zone, what is the key down there?
I got to talk to Patrick about that, because does a kneel down have to count as a strike against the red zone? That's going to end up, that hurts, man. That hurts. We can't catch Navy. We can't catch Navy if we're counting kneel downs. There's got to be a way around that rule.